Hello everybody and welcome to Lush and Salty Aquariums. My name is Stefan. Thank you for coming to my channel and also the channel of these absolutely magnificent, word-defying Longfin albino Corydoras. I put in a algae wafer because they were feeling frisky and it didn't take long. There's also a plecostomus coming in to take his share as well. But basically, it's a bunch of these chunky, adorable, graceful. I mean, I know I'm contradicting myself, but you can see for yourself just how cute and adorable that these creatures are. Everybody loves a Coryodora, but these are just showstoppers. Now there's one up there and he or she is not so inclined to go fight with his brothers and sisters down there for the algae wafer. You can see on the carpet here of Microsword, you could see a beautiful piece of Christmas moss has found its way in there. It gives me an opportunity to talk about that. I just did a video on how you can use these just cheap, super easy to grow microswords in lieu of a fancy dwarf hairgrass or Monte Carlo carpet. They're just so much easier to maintain. I mean, most of the maintenance here is taking my tongs and pulling out that moss, which by the way does not go to waste because it's really good, healthy moss. I put it in these little containers down here in this little setup I have, and I bring golf ball sized portions of almost pure unadulterated Christmas moss to my LFS for a trade. I'm tracking this buried Amano shrimp. Look at the beautiful subtle colors on that Caridina shrimp. You can see where all the flippers are underneath her midsection. That's generally where I will see eggs, and there might very well be some on this, as I alluded to earlier. A very big creature, an inch and change. Definitely an inch and change, but we digress because the stars of the show are the stars of the show. Now I have one other creature in this aquarium that has equal brilliant white color to it, and I had seen him or her out. It's a snowflake plecostomus, a juvenile, a baby. I beg your pardon on the siren, it is Chicago. But it's in there as well from my friend Karina at UC Aquatics. I traded her some plants from this very aquarium for a couple juvenile snowflake plecostomus, and I'm bound and determined to at least get a shot of it, because I've seen him or her looming around back here. You can see the intense colorscape as we pan over the top. Another gimonstrous Amano shrimp. And look at that. Look at the super red mini. I just cut the tops of that, so that's how quickly it's already rebounded. And everything in this tank under the Chihiro's light with CO2 and just luck, I guess. An abundance of luck. There's the Ludwigia repens, and then Hygrophila arugia. I've bragged about this plant before. I think to get, I mean, I see it in other people's tanks and they just buy it, and maybe it's the immersed version or newly submersed, but it's more green than red. But that's what you'll get with a good light and CO2. There's just no way around it for that plant. If you want to get those great popping pigments, CO2, and then a splendid light with full spectrum RGB. I'm not finding that adorable little white Plecostomus, and it's breaking my heart because it's in there and it's really sweet, and it was right there on that Anubias leaf that's sticking up. You can see some pearling, which is always kind of cool, right? And you see the Bucephalandra down here. A couple buds might be coming right there, or just unfurling leaves. Sometimes it's hard to tell, but either way, a glorious sight. I've also got a few Blackfire Endler Fry tooling about the surface. There's a really new one, right? I don't even know if this camera, it doesn't matter, I catch them out. I don't want this to turn into a live bear tank. I got a couple males in here. There's one right there, and there's the female that's making those babies. I'm gonna catch her out. But it's pretty easy to catch guppy fry at the top of a planted tank. And the older they get, the more wily they get, and the harder it is to catch, but they're still among the easiest fish to catch in my experience. I'm not too worried about it. Even in this cover, they're so brazen, they tend not to escape unless you really harass them. And so I catch them out, and I have a place for them in the fish room where I raise out the endlers, and then I bring them to my LFS as well. But usually I'm going over there with plants. You can see why. I mean, it's hard to believe I just gave this tank a haircut. But here's something fun and new. It was in my other tank, kind of lost, not getting quite the intense light. But this is Japanese clover, the Hydrocolte Japan, and I've got it on the little magnetic holder. It's pretty neat, and this will be a softball in a week or so. But the way it sends tendrils out looking for somewhere to capture, it's just so beautiful and elegant. An easy as heck plant to grow in any different varieties. I mean, it's not even in the substrate here. It's just wrapped around with some thread. It can be, in some situations, if you grow it down along the bottom there, it can get pretty tangled up, and then when you're trying to prune it, you can mess up some of your other more delicate plants because it gets tied up in there, like undoing a wet shoelace sometimes. But these are high-class problems, because anytime you have a plant that's loving life, well, maybe not any time, but 90% of the time, it's all good news, and it's worth whatever effort it might involve to take the extra care that pruning requires. But that's a labor of love for me. There it is, folks. I feel like a nature show, but do you see it right there? A little glorious, there you go. A little baby snowflake. That's not an albino. It's got a little chocolate to its tail, but Karina at UC Aquatics has been selling these out at the swaps, and as young adults I've seen them go for $50, $75 online. I don't know what she's selling them for. I just made a trade, but you can find her website or her YouTube channel, UC Aquatics, and take it up from there. I know she has a new spawn of them, and they won't be much smaller than that. Look at it, there it is. And there he goes. Just as brilliant as these Corydoras. I hope they don't get jealous. I've got another one in another tank, and a third one in another tank, and I know they all survived the transition from that trade we made a couple weeks back, and I'm so delighted. Not only in the trade and all, you know, and the helping each other out and all that good stuff, but just having that rare and beautiful fish, and I'm going to be able to watch it grow up in all my aquariums. But this one here, the one I'm pointing out to you now, under this RGB3, it's going to be a stunner. Can you imagine that glorious little fish? I see him again. I'm so glad I didn't abort this. I'm going to find a nice shot of him by hook or by crook. Yeah, that was by hook, so let's try by crook. He's in there. Fortunately, that color makes it pretty easy to detect these fish. They're so white, so contrasty, especially when you've got a rainbow of colors like in this aquarium, when they'll pop against green for sure. I mean, look at these guys. Whoop, we got a little fat tummy there. That's sort of the same species. That's the same species as that snowflake, just a more common color morph, but it is the longfin, which makes them in their own way like a ballerina, an awkward but at the same time elegant creature. The fact that it has that sucker mouth makes it look alien, but to my eyes, beautiful. My daughters think they're out of this world, and I don't blame them. That's a fair assessment. If you have any questions, I didn't even talk about most of the fish, because most of the fish in this aquarium spend most of the time back and in behind there. The brass tetras, the red Bexford pencilfish, and green neons, if you can believe it. We haven't seen one this entire filming, but they're in there and they're really happy. I just don't see them. One of these days I'll figure something out. I'll either rethink how I want to stock this aquarium, but right now the center stage is always showing, 3 shows daily with these guys. They never hide. No matter what the light, no matter what time of day, the albino Corydoras, they are out and about, which is such an irony because those are usually the shy and reclusive fish in so many aquariums. It's the exact opposite in this one. Well, I was so glad I was able to find that little snowflake, because I know I've filmed this aquarium recently for you guys, but between that and this fun collection, my only collection of Hydrocolte Japan at this point. Otherwise, you've seen it all before, but you'll see it again. Okay, folks, as always, keep your hands in the tank, albeit carefully, and ciao for now.